Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live for Cloud Talk Live. That's right. Welcome to this week's episode of Cloud Talk Live. Folks, my name is Jeff DeVerter. I'm the Chief Technology Evangelist here at Rackspace Technology, and I'm today live in the Event Center here at Rackspace's corporate headquarters here in San Antonio, Texas. And next week, right up on that stage and all around this facility, we will be doing, and I'll talk about this more, our Solve Summit. We've been advertising this on LinkedIn and YouTube, but it's going to be a great event. More on that later. But now, introduce yourselves, folks. We have a great episode for you today. So I'd love for you to introduce yourselves in the comments below. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you are. Love to learn more about each of you because you're going to want to participate in today's very, very global conversation. Now, if you want to get a hold of us, you want to share a little something, maybe you don't want the whole world to see, you want to say super nice things and you don't want the world to know you said them, or maybe you have constructive criticism. Who knows what it might be? Just send us an email at solve@rackspace.com. It comes to me, it comes to Daniel, Megan, the whole production team will see it. And I'd love to know what's going on from you. Michael is here from Houston. Michael, you get a badge for being here as regularly as anyone is going to be here. So thanks so much for that. All right, let's press on with a couple of things here, folks. As you know, Solve, what this Cloud Talk program is all about, is part of Rackspace's Thought Leadership Program. Part of that is our podcast. Now, all of the audio from all of these events ends up in this podcast stream at some point or another. I'll freely admit I edit them a little sporadically, so, be patient. But if you will go and subscribe to Cloud Talk, anywhere you find the podcasts, whether that's Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, all of them, you'll find us there. You can't get rid of us. We're everywhere. Now, let's talk about our event for today. I have got one Confidence Staveley who's going to be on the program. Now, Confidence and I have been talking on LinkedIn for months now, finding a time to have her on the program. And folks, today is that day. Now, there's so much that's amazing about Confidence, but as you're going to learn, this is the first guest that we've had on the program from the amazing continent of Africa. That's right, Africa, ladies and gentlemen. With that, let's bring Confidence up onto the stage and learn a little bit more about her. Confidence, welcome to Cloud Talk Live.
Thank you so much, Jeff. It's just a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited.
Well, we're excited to have you here. Now, we've got to start. Where in the world specifically are you? And I always ask this question of people who are far away. What's the weather like today?
A variant of that question would be people would ask, where are you today? Because I could be just about anywhere else in the world. So today, I'm in Lagos, Nigeria, where my base is actually. And yeah, it's really warm and it's very, very sunny. So yeah, it's a beautiful day.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, so your base is in Lagos, Nigeria. Where do you work these days? Tell me about the day job. Tell me about what fills your 9 to 5 time these days.
Jeff, is interesting because I wear two major hats. I wear one as the founder and executive director of Cybersecurity Foundation, where we're driving safe and inclusive access to digital across Africa. Keywords there being safe, inclusive. Inclusive because if you look at the demographics in Africa, women make up 50% of the population, but only contribute 9% to the cybersecurity workforce. Yes. Wow. So if you hear the rest of the world say things around 20 and 25, that's going to look like Christmas for us over here. So we have those gaps, not just in cybersecurity workforce, but even access to digital, generally speaking, for women. So my organization helps to drive safe access, upskill women to take up opportunities in cyber, close the skills gap, and many other things. But also day job too would be that I'm a virtual CISO, I'm a VCISO for a company that's using conversational AI in a revolutionary way. And it's very exciting to see what's happening in that space and being able to bring in security best practices into the work that's been done there.
That's really fascinating. Hey, let's delve a little bit more into job number one. We'll start with job number one. So, first of all, when you were getting into cybersecurity, obviously you mentioned the numbers 9%, the female workforce only contributing to cybersecurity in Africa up to 9%. Did that make it more difficult? Was it seen as a job that women shouldn't do, can't do? Was it hard for you to break into that?
I would say generally tech was something seen as something that women shouldn't do. And I mean, recently on Women's Day, I made a post about this. I don't know if you saw that, Jeff, but I narrated how my father, when I was 7 years old, I just come back home from a competition. I had won an AC competition, and he welcomed me into his arms like a loving father would. And he made a comment that I would never forget. He said, "In you, I have 10 sons." At that time, I was 7 years old. Yeah, I had no clue what he meant, but it didn't take me long. I wasn't 10 before I discovered what he actually meant.
Yeah.
And I overheard a lot of things. I experienced a lot of things. I clearly overheard him in a conversation trying to make a case for why I should, why my interest in computer science and having to build a career in it made sense in the first place. And the person he was speaking to clearly said to him, "That's something that the boys do. Why should she be there?" And he made a case again. He made that same comment. He just brought back all of the memories flashing back. And honestly, I won't say it's significantly different today. I mean, I'm in my 30s now, and I have still had this year someone tweeted at me saying that women should be in industries that require emotional people because women are naturally emotional, and that cybersecurity should be for able-bodied men. I don't know what he means by that, but I mean, with these nails done and everything, I could do just about anything that needs to be done to get the work done, So it's very interesting, but I would say, generally speaking, cybersecurity, or rather, generally speaking, tech as a whole is seen as something that's a boys' club, that girls generally may not have the intellect for, because maybe our brains are wired differently. And so what I have done with some of the work I'm doing here is that while upskilling is a great thing to do, there's a whole lot of mental work that we do with the girls we train, because I mean, these stereotypes have been inculcated, they've been believed to be the truth. I mean, all of these myths that we need to rewire them. So that's what we're seeing, generally speaking, across board. But for me specifically, I would say that I have thoroughly enjoyed it enough to put that kind of talk about gender at somewhere relevant in my mind, because I can clearly see what the truth is. I'm enjoying myself, and I think more women should be here.
That is an amazing story. I love the quote that you mentioned from your father, and obviously, how proud he was and is of you in what you're accomplishing. That is just absolutely amazing. So, if people want to learn more about your foundation, how do they find it?
Okay, you can go to www.cybersafefoundation.org. We are actively sharing stories also about our alumni and the programs we're doing on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you can find us by typing Cybersafe Foundation, and you'll definitely be able to connect and see what we're doing. The work we're doing is phenomenal, if I say so myself. I mean, I have seen girls who have come from waiting tables at pizza restaurants, becoming SOC analysts at big firms. In South Africa, I've seen girls in Kenya go from being very, very stressed underpaid lawyers to taking up data protection roles in major banks. I have seen girls who didn't know how to turn on a computer become pen testers and really protect critical infrastructure in Nigeria. So all of these stories and all of the work we're doing, we are showcasing it on our socials. Recently, we opened applications for our upskilling program we call Cybergirls, and we got 20,000 applications.
Whoa.
I mean, 20,000, Jeff.
That's incredible.
From 45 African countries. The interest is very high. We just don't have enough funding and enough seats to really take care of the girls that we get in. So we ended up getting 500 of them. So that means that 1 in 40 girls got into the program. I mean, it's not something that is of pride to me. It's painful to see us turn back so many people, but it just tells of how much potential Africa has, generally speaking, and I mean, also contributing to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Now, is this a virtual program? Are you bringing them together into certain locations? Tell me how that works.
It's a virtual program, but we have a few meetups. So we have something that we do called the Linux party, where the girls have fun and play technical games. That happens once in the cohort, but largely everything else is virtual. And we have our current cohort has 500 girls from 22 African countries. To think about some of the biggest countries in Africa, have them represented. We have some of the countries that you may never have heard about also represented as well. So as long as the talents that we have go through our very rigorous and thorough selection process, we get the girls accepted, and we provide for a lot of the things that they will need to gain in-demand cybersecurity skills across 7 tracks. We also collaborate globally to bring this kind of very quality training as well. I won't want to name names because, again, this is Rackspace's space, but we are collaborating with some of the very major companies across the world to train our girls in one of the tracks being vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. We have cloud security. We have critical infrastructure security. We have DevSecOps. We have security operations and incident response, if you want to put it that way. We have threat intelligence and digital forensics as well. So, I mean, it's very exciting times for us as well. I see a question from Megan. Yeah.
Yeah, go. Yeah. What did Megan say here?
Let me see.
Journey about becoming a woman. Yeah. So let's learn more about that. I keep wanting to ask more questions about this. Let me just make one last comment though. As you've got girls starting to, graduate, we are hiring all kinds of security people. So keep us in mind. We would love to be a resource to you.
I will.
I'm just signing Gary up and Karen up. I'll introduce you to our CISO, Karen O'Reilly Smith. She's amazing, and she'll be a great resource for you and for all the women. But let's talk about your journey a little bit more. So, you've already started us back at 7 years old when you came back from a competition, and your dad said he's more proud of you. With you, he had 10 sons. So let's step through. How did you get where you are in cyber?
I would say it was sheer happenstance. I was supposed to be a medical doctor, Jeff, and it's very interesting.
You made a left turn where you're supposed to go right at some point.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that still remains, I don't know if this is a joke that holds true in America, but people who have the worst handwriting are generally thought of as doctors. So I still have the bad handwriting. So maybe that's the only thing that's stuck. That's the only thing that's stuck here. But I mean, I'm very African in the sense of our families are sort of like very influential into what the children become. So they start selling you some of the the very high performing careers very early. So if you know how to talk a lot, so you should be a lawyer, you talk a lot. And then if you know math, oh my God, you're definitely an engineer. And over time, when you hear that over and over, you just say, you know what, actually that's my dream, that's everything I've always wanted. But truth be told, sometimes it's not true. And that's exactly what happened to me. I thought because I had bought that dream, I thought that was what I was going to be. And my parents asked me to take a gap year between high school. We call it secondary school here, but between high school and university to take a gap year. In retrospect, I think my parents asked me to take the gap year because of financial reasons. But they also wanted to make sure that they were protecting me from getting idle and maybe having to run around the boys and get pregnant. So they said, you know what, go and get busy with learning about computers. At this time, I didn't know how to turn on a computer.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I went on to, we call it computer school over here. So there usually be like a duplay or something, and then you have computers there. I didn't have the personal one. And so I went there and I started learning how to use basic computing programs. And then I graduated to learning how to code. The day I started learning how to code in JavaScript, it felt like I was co-creators with God,
You were home. You were where you wanted to be.
I felt powerful. I felt alive. My eyes were sparkling. And I just knew I wanted to be in tech. Jeff, can you hear me? Okay, great.
I can. Just a little camera challenge, but keep going, please.
Yeah, that's fine. So I knew I really just wanted to be in tech. And I went back home after some time coding, and I got that admission in. I got the letter in from the university saying, come study medicine. And I knew that I had to talk my parents out of this. I don't know if you have any African friends, but that's a Herculean task. And African or an Asian parent is the most difficult, are the most difficult set of people to convince. So what I did was I bought cardboard papers because I didn't have a personal computer. I only had access to a computer by going to that place.
Yeah.
And I bought cardboards and I made a presentation from those cardboard papers. And I presented to my parents that technology was the future and that I was very passionate about it. And I made a comment my parents still remind me. I told my parents that you can't compete with someone who is passionate about what they're doing, and that I was going to fare well. So that's still something that is very is
You
very
made a manual PowerPoint is what you did.
manual PowerPoint.
You were
Yeah.
like, click.
Exactly. Prakash, I think Prakash can really understand what I'm saying.
I think so. I think
I've
so.
seen his comment. And so when I did that, my parents just saw that I was very happy and passionate about this thing and how much I talked about it when I come back from my computer school. So they went on to take a chance on me. And till today, I'm a parent. And I know now for a fact that we're very brave because we didn't have anyone around us who had told that line and become successful enough to be a reference point and be a model for me to say, okay, this is work for other people, it's going to work for me. So they were brave enough to just trust me and trust the fact that I was very enthusiastic about this thing and I would pursue it. So I went on to get an advanced diploma in software engineering. I went on to do a first degree in IT and business information systems. But it was during my master's in IT management that I took an elective course called cryptography. I'm sure you know that by now.
Yeah.
And cryptography was my entry point. I experienced cryptography and I wanted to learn more about this science, and it was literally a good rabbit hole. I got on from there, started learning more, started self-learning, enrolling in courses. I had my mentor at the time as my course lecturer for cryptography. He's doing great for himself right now in the UK, and that was how my journey started off. Very exciting, and I can tell I'm very passionate. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you sound like you're really pretty bored about the whole thing that you had to go do. No, this was what fed you. This is what was your lifeblood. That is super exciting.
Yes.
And I think that message to your parents of you really can't stop somebody with passion was rang absolutely true. And it's really interesting though also because you got so excited about computers and really went down to that 110%, and then you hit cryptography and you realized here's this broad field, but what I'm excited about is this really skinny field.
Absolutely.
All right. So now, so what was the first real job once you had your education, you had your skills, and so what was the first real IT job?
I would say my first real IT job was as an IT officer. I used to work with the government of my state, and I just want to also add a caveat that I got not a caveat, but add some more information and context that I got. The education I got due to scholarships that I got from the government of the day I used to work for. So I would never have been able to afford to study at the University of Middlesex or all the other schools I was able to learn at. So I came back home, and then of course I became the IT officer. In between my school, the different times I took the degrees. But that was my first real job. That was the first time I started maintaining servers, doing some really technical work, but also some non-technical work. And this is the part of the conversation that can touch on gender a bit. Because I was a girl, I would sometimes be doing very serious work, and someone would say, go and fetch me coffee. I was a coffee girl, but because I was a lady and, most times around the guys and all of the intricacies around that, I wasn't taken seriously quite a lot. But that experience was quite the beginning of my very, very practical encounters with technology, practical knowledge, and all of that. So yes, that was my first real job as an IT officer. It doubled also with other roles overlapping again because one, I am a multi-potentialite, and when I see problems, I'm definitely wanting to solve them, and I could apply myself around the place. So a key reason why I'm currently, being seen as a relatable person is because I think I've had a bit of here and there, unofficial knowledge, and just experiencing different things and having the opportunity to do different things while I do tech primarily.
Yeah, that's really, really incredible. And it's amazing to be able to get to feed that back to that next generation, to the next folks who are digging in. It's interesting. You're telling me the story, that in those first jobs, you're there as an equal with the guys, but you're getting sent for coffee. I was interviewing an amazing woman, about a month ago or 6 weeks ago, from Turkey. And so she got into her cybersecurity world started in networking, and so she found herself doing an all-night maintenance with a bunch of guys in this high rise, and needed to go to the restroom, and there was no woman's restroom in this place. I mean, these are the kinds of challenges that she had to deal with, and it just wasn't that long ago. So we've had a really interesting conversation. So let me ask you this question. So as you're talking to these women who are coming and being a part of the CyberSafe Foundation, obviously they have an interest. They are reaching out to you. You're getting the word out. First of all, how are you getting the word out about this? Or is it just spreading naturally because of other folks who've been in?
Jeff, it's a combination of all of what you said. What we have done differently is, and I think this applies to just about every part of cyber, we need to be really innovative with our approaches. And for us, we have been very innovative with the way we look to attract girls. We go on the platforms that the girls themselves use, because we are passionate about increasing that base at the bottom, so that by the time we have more people at the bottom, they begin to float up with the years of experience. So we really are targeting increasing that pool from the bottom. And where are those girls or people who would want to bring in? They're on Instagram. They may not be on LinkedIn.
Right.
They're on TikTok. They may not be on LinkedIn. They're on Twitter. You understand? So we are in those spaces creating content that they would like, showing them things that are interesting for them, that they find very exciting, and then being able to pull them in from there. Of course, not telling them something that's not realistic, but presenting what we have as an opportunity for them in a way that's exciting for them. But what I've found even more exciting is the word of mouth. I mean, Jeff, I actually don't need to run into I actually don't need to go into interviewing the girls, because the last stage of our selection process is the interview stage. But I generally, as a leader, want to always feel the pulse and know what's happening. So I take some very, very small slots in the program, and in the interview plan, and I say, okay, I'm volunteering my time to interview. And in that time when I interviewed our current cohort coming in, it was mind blowing. We had a girl in Zimbabwe. By the way, we've never worked in Zimbabwe before. This is our first time that we're going to be having fellows from Zimbabwe. She went in for career counseling, and her career counselor told her that her best bet at breaking into cyber as a young girl would be Cybergirls. So she went on straight up. Right, yes. We had girls tell us that people who have been on the program made TikTok videos and they saw it and they wanted to come on board. We just had a lot of word of mouth. So we don't run any ads, and we get that number in. So it's just very fluid, very, very very, very organic. Another key reason why I strongly believe that we've been doing so well with our numbers is it's something I also believe is true, that girls can become what they not see. Because girls can see me and talk to Jeff, girls can see me do so well in cyber, girls can see me on those global stages. Automatically, they can also see themselves. So when I present an opportunity to them, they are then able to see if Confidence can do this, definitely, and do it well and be in this field and be recognized, then I have a place right there. So I believe also very strongly that the reason that we are able to get these numbers is not just because of me, because I can take myself out of the equation. But we have seen that we've begun to build these role models across Africa for women in cyber enough to become reference points. So once those opportunities come up, girls and those women share them because they are influential. They are seen as, the possibility of the future for these girls. They're able to jump on it.
That's really fascinating. So obviously your parents knew something about you when you were born. I mean, to give you the name Confidence, you speak with such confidence. And that kind of leads me towards my next question. And that is there's really two pieces in working in tech. And one is is what you're covering with the foundation with Cybergirls, and that is making sure that they have the technical foundation to do the work that they need to do. But the other piece is they need to have a level of confidence to be able to speak with authority about the things that they're working on, and especially in cyber, to be able to stand up and say, what you're doing is wrong. You got to fix this thing. They've come in through this back door. We've got to deal with this issue right here. How do you work, or do you work with the women in helping to instill that in them as well?
Jeff, that's a fantastic question. And if you look at it from the perspective of the fact that the girls that we're bringing in are generally speaking, facing multiple barriers stacked up against them, there then becomes an urgency to be able to make them feel self-sufficient and powerful enough to break through those barriers. And so some of the key things we're able to do is not just provide hard skills training, which we definitely do well, but we also provide soft skills training. Part of that soft skills training is also the teamwork. Cybersecurity is a team sport. We don't want to raise girls that believe that, by myself, I'll sit in the SOC and I will stop all the, we don't want all of this. We don't want that. So we generally want to build them that way. But communication is also a big thing that we train them to become. And I mean, when we started this conversation, I started talking about the fact that we're rewiring their minds. Yeah. One major way we're doing that is something called a mantra. We have a mantra that the girls get to recite during every class. So that over time enables them to feel powerful enough and sit in the driver's seat of their lives to change their lives. One of the key sentences in that mantra is, I am knowledgeable, resilient, and excellent. I am a fountain of knowledge and an ardent problem solver. In fact, in that mantra, they also say to themselves that there is nothing too difficult for them to master. Over time, even when they face challenges, when they are not able to crack things, they tell themselves that. And we've heard that testimony over time. And the girls say, oh my God, my brain popped and I was able to assimilate that in. So we do that mind rewiring through a mantra and through other things. We also have something called the open day, where the girls work on projects and then they come and in their groups present those projects as well to the world. So we do that through our online channels, and then we score them for it. What we are primarily showing them there is we're also building, aside practicing some of the soft skills, we're teaching them like time management, like leadership, like communication. We are also being able to then help them practice those skills and show how they fit in the real world. So definitely that's a big part of our training that I am profoundly proud about, that we've been able to incorporate, and the success has been phenomenal as well.
Well, that is, it's amazing. Confidence. I have to say, I'm a relatively energetic person, and usually I am not, the slacker in the conversation from an energy point of view. And I love having somebody who's kind of hold me up here. But I love that mantra. Would you just say it one more time that you teach the women? Incredibly inspiring.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say, I'm knowledgeable, resilient, and excellent. I am a fountain of value and an ardent problem solver. I'm a voracious learner, so nothing is too difficult for me to master. I am a cyber girl.
That is just fantastic, because I cannot even relate to an environment where, as a middle-aged white guy, I have never had people and in mass tell me that, because of who I am or my gender or my age, that I can or can't do something. I more get told why I can do things, not why I can't do things. And that is not the experience that women at large, but especially in Africa, as you're saying, are hearing. And the fact that you're rewiring and reprogramming brains in that way is just as inspiring as possible.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
You have a Cybergirl alum in the audience. Rose, thank you so much for chiming in here.
They're almost everywhere, so I was expecting that one would pop in here. Hi, Rose, welcome.
That is so much fun. Okay, so so people want to learn more. It's cybergirls.org, correct? I saw we posted the link earlier. Cyber Safe
Cybersafefoundation.org.
Foundation. Thank you. Cyber
Yeah.
Safe Foundation. There we go. .org. I'd love for everybody to go there. Hopefully there's a donate button and our audience can help make sure that more women are able to get into that. Is there a way for people to contribute and help with the cause?
Yeah, sure. I just saw a question from Kane Day, and I basically I'm going to respond to that. Kane Day is saying, I would advise that compliance and ethics are major content to cyber girls. This is to ensure they grow the mindset of being ethical and know when to draw the line when being offered unethical opportunity. I will actually refer you to a video. I'm not going to tell you what I mean. I'm not going to say much. I'll refer you to a video of a cyber girl. If you go on our YouTube channel, there's a girl called Olufela Oshideko. She was the girl I was describing earlier who couldn't turn on a computer, but right now is one of the best pen testers we've produced. And in her video, she actually says this, that we tell them about the ethics of it. It's something that they sign paperwork for. So that's a key part of our training as well. But talking about compliance, that's also a learning track that's different. We have something called governance, risk, and compliance. So girls that want to explore that path for cybersecurity can definitely come in and explore it. So Kende, I hope that I have shared that with you. It's definitely something that's top on our minds and in our actions as well.
I love that so much. Well, Confidence, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us here this morning.
Sorry, Jeff. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying how people, you were asking me to say something about how people can support us, right?
Yes, I did. Oh, thank you for remembering.
Yeah, great. So I just started in this question and I didn't come back to speak about that. But currently we're trying to raise funds to be able to support the girls that we have on our cohort. So you can definitely donate. The link for the donation is on our website as well. So please donate. We also would be calling for coaches to also help coach the girls, and this is gender neutral for our coaches, so you can volunteer your time to coach the girls. We also have a call for mentors. Our mentors are only female because again we want to use the power of representation to really drive home some of the key points and some of the rewiring I spoke about earlier. So if you're a woman here in cybersecurity who has 3 or more years of experience in industry, come from wherever in the world you are. We generally have our mentors from about 4 continents in the world. So you are welcome to just help us really show these girls that this is possible. So you can mentor, you can coach, you can donate.
That's awesome. Hey, there's also one question I love to ask when we do these types of an event, and I don't know as your answer is going to be very different, but if you were talking to, so here's what I hear a lot. I'll get an email, we'll see comments in here going, this was a great event. I want to take it home and show it to my teenage daughters so that they can see what they could become in the future. But if you were going to give a message to these 12-year-old women, or maybe even 12-year-old Confidence, what advice would you have for them or even for yourself at 12 years old?
Sorry, I'm a big mantra girl, so I'm going to throw up one.
Okay, that's good.
It's stupid simple. Because again, I believe in stupid simple things. It's a nursery rhyme. It goes thus: good, better, best.
Yeah.
I will never rest until my good is better and my better best. This is also something that has held me up to very high standards of continuous self-improvement.
Yeah.
And when you are so good at what you do, you're unstoppable. And so I want to first tell those girls that you can do this. And if you continue to put in that mindset of continuously growing what you know, growing your skill sets, girl, there's no barrier on your way you can knock down.
Well, I don't know if I've ever done an episode that I've been more inspired about to go become better or become best at something. So I think we need to get some T-shirts made. And get them out and sell them and get the proceeds over to Cybergirls. Confidence, thank you so much for being a part of the program. We have many events I'd love to include you with throughout the year. I'd love to shine a light on what you got, what maybe even some of the amazing cyber girls that have come out as well, and get more attention there so that you can get more amazing mentors to come alongside your amazing women.
Thank you so much. That would be excellent.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to tuck you backstage for a few minutes, but stick around. I'd love to visit with you afterwards. But an amazing conversation. Thanks for being a part of it here today.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, I do hope that you enjoyed that as much as I did. And I really did mean that. I'm an energetic person, but I think I have found my match in a conversation with confidence. Holy moly. Well, folks, I do want to remind you that, oh, look at that. Next week, right from this stage here, we are, we've got our Cloud Talk Live Summit. That's right, an entire hour, not at 8:30 like normal. It's going to be at 10 o'clock Central Time. We've got incredible guests who are going to be a part of this. Some are going to be live on stage with me right there. Some are going to be remote. Daniel Gibson's flying in for the first time to be a part of this event here. It's going to be a great episode. You're not going to want to miss that. Carve time out of your day, 10 o'clock Central Time, to be a part of the program. We've got folks from Microsoft. They're helping to sponsor the whole thing. Thank goodness for them. We've got an amazing Chat GPT example we're going to show you of how we're using that with our salespeople. There is nothing but greatness that we're going to show here. Even if you're interested in getting into a career in data, AI, and ML, we have the leader of that program from UTSA who's going to be a part of the program to talk about how they're helping train the world's next data scientists and leaders there. So make sure that you're a part of that program. Everyone, that is going to do it for our program here today. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. For Cloud Talk Live, my name is Jeff DeVerter, and we'll see you next week.